You're listening to Inside the Locker Room with Wimp and Barry Sanderson on Tide 100.9 in Tuscaloosa.
5 and 78. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 68 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
Inside the Locker Room with former Crimson Tide basketball coach Wimp Sanderson and his son, former SEC and ACC assistant basketball coach Barry Sanderson. It's time to take you inside the locker room on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
And good morning and welcome into a hump day edition of Inside the Locker Room. Phone number is always 205-342-9904 if you'd like to jump in on the show with us this morning. X accounts at Locker Room 109 at Barry Sanderson at Wimp Sanderson. We want our email for the show. Got a couple of emails last night. Wimp and Barry at yahoo.com. So feel free to shoot us an email. You can download the app, the Tide 100.9 app. There's a chat app on the app that you can send to us. Also read all the articles. Do a great job of covering the University of Alabama and also anything going on in the area here. They tend to put on the app. So it's a great deal. You can have it where it will message you every time there's an article or something out. So do us a favor, download the Tide 100.9 app and tell 3 friends about that as well. As we get started, we want to thank Yellowwood Pressure Treated Pine from Great Southern Wood. Always remember, guys, if it doesn't have that yellow tag on it, then you certainly don't want it. Go to yellowwood.com to find the dealer that is closest to you. With that being said, good morning, Chase. Good morning, Dad. How are you guys doing this morning?
Doing okay. First of all, I want to congratulate Donald Trump for being our 45th president of the United States, 47th president. He was the 45th. I'm really thankful for his election. Billy Bob will not be on the women's tour playing golf, and Mary Ann won't be the quarterback at Barry's high school team. I'm thankful for that. I think it's the way it should be. Say what I want to about that, but I'm very, very glad that he has done what he has done, and makes me feel better about things. As far as football is concerned, Alabama was ranked ahead of a couple of teams that had a couple of losses. They were, ranked number 11. If they were to have played today, and actually they're not going to, this Saturday they would have played Texas and Austin. So that's where things stand now. Some people are upset because they've jumped ahead of. I think the biggest thing that has jumped them ahead is the Georgia win, no doubt about that. Beating against Georgia, Vanderbilt lost, threw them down. Indiana was number 8. People think they've been disrespected a little bit. LSU was 15, and Ole Miss was 16. As we go through the line, and I'll let Barry have it, whatever he wants to say. Oregon 1, Ohio State 2, Georgia, Miami, and Texas number 5. And as I mentioned, LSU and Alabama will fight it out. I guess as we talked about throughout the pickings, they have felt like that Alabama has been. They asked Ward, I guess that's Manuel, the guy that ran it, a lot of things about why Alabama was picked as high as they were with 2 losses. They're the highest ranked team, I think, with 2 losses, Barry. If I could be wrong, but I think that's correct. And certainly we'll see what happens in this game on Saturday. That's all.
Not a ton of surprises, I don't think, with the poll there. Georgia has kind of struggled, to be quite honest with you. So we'll see, how they do this weekend. And what are you feeling about this Georgia Ole Miss game? I think this is the year Lane Kiffin may get this game, to be quite honest with you.
I have the same feeling you do. I haven't talked to you personally about it. I think quarterback-wise, the quarterback's very good. Hasn't played very well. He's thrown into double coverage. He just hadn't been as smart or as effective as he was. I've been on other shows with quarterback people, and they raved about him when the season started. How underrated he was, how good he was. Nobody gave him much credit. I would sort of agree, I think, with you in that he has a chance. He's a good quarterback. He hasn't reached the great quarterbackness of it, and Georgia has won in spite of themselves a little bit. They've been fortunate. Only thing I look for Georgia is the great comeback that they made against Alabama when they were down so bad.
Yeah, and then you go to Alabama. We had people texting me or messaging me yesterday after Roman Harper, and he talked about Alabama having more of a mentality of lining up. I don't think he said put a hat on a hat, but basically being able to run the football with these running backs, not necessarily just with Jalen Milroe, and how critical he thought that was. I kept teasing him about Alabama. If they get down, they kind of abandon the game plan there of running the ball, even if it's early. But, I know a lot of Alabama fans want Alabama to be physical and go and play and be able to kind of dictate the tempo of the game. That's the best way to take the crowd out of it, is to go on long drives and run the ball and get first downs. Just your thoughts about what Roman said in the game plan with Alabama going into Baton Rouge on Saturday night.
Well, I think he has a lot of respect for Alabama's past. I think I'm concerned about Alabama's future, present right now in this game. Now, I'm not being negative. I'm answering this vision with Barry. I think it's going to be a tough game. I said that to Roman, and Roman made some good comments about the running game. That's all he talked about. We got him to say that on the radio yesterday. So I think the offensive line plays a huge part in the ability to block these guys up front. And I just think that Milroe needs to play a little bit differently and hit that ball to the running backs, throw when he can, and be a little bit, defense dictates what you do. I understand all that. I got that. But I think a little bit smarter. I don't know, Barry, I don't know if they're as good as selected. I could be dead. I could be as wrong as I could be, but I'm not sure they're 11.
You talking about Alabama being 11? Yeah. And you look in here, if the of course, now when they're picking the top four, they're just assuming those teams are going to win their conference championship. That's where they would be ranked. But we all know that the winner, the SEC, the Big Ten, the Big 12, and the ACC will get those top four seeds. So then that will throw the seeding around. But if it were to go as chalk, you'd have Boise State traveling to Ohio State. Indiana, which I think deserves better than number 9, they would have to travel to Tennessee. Indiana's undefeated. That just doesn't. What
about BYU, Barry, being undefeated, Big 12 champion probably, and pick number 9?
Yeah, but if they win the Big 12, they'll be 4.
Okay.
If they win that, then they would get a first round bye. And so I guess they're seeding them 1 through 12 right now based on who they think is the best. But conference champions get the bye. So currently they're leading the Big 12 in their first year. So they would be a 4 seed in that situation. If Oregon State went on and ran the table in the Big 10, they would be the 1 seed. If Georgia wins the SEC, they would be the 2. Looks like Miami would be the 3 and BYU the 4. So Alabama taking on Texas. Whew, that'd be some,
it'd be a hard game.
That'd be some first round game, and then it'd be a very physical game. That's what worries you a little bit about these playoffs. You'd have a very physical game in that game, then you got to turn around next week and play another big time opponent, which I guess would be if you play I guess that would be the 3 seed. I need to look at the bracket there, but it's going to be it's interesting.
I think the big thing, Barry, is interesting to me is that the head coach of Alabama has played Texas in the playoff game at Washington and knows how to prepare for Texas because he played them and he beat them. Go ahead.
Yeah. So, based on last night's poll, the last 2 in would have been Alabama and Boise. first four out, which I don't know, SMU, Texas A&M, LSU, and Ole Miss. So you got a lot of SEC teams there peeking in the window, trying to get into this playoff. If Ole Miss, boy, what a big game for them. That would kind of give them a chance to slide up when one of these teams loses there. Because if Alabama were knocked, Alabama LSU loser will fall below Ole Miss if they were to win. And Texas A&M and SMU are the first four right there. So they're probably, they don't care about the LSU Alabama game, but they're probably very interested in these other teams there right below them, see if they'll get knocked out. All right, we got Philip Holden. We'll get to break here, and then we'll get to Philip. We'll open up the phone lines 205-342-9904. 2-minute truck. They're at 1330 Martin Road East. That's where you go pick up your boxes, your packing supplies, whatever you need to prepare for this local, out-of-town, or out-of-state move, or you just need stuff moved around the house. Give them a call today for the free estimate. They'll take great care of you and your stuff. 205-247-5050. That's 2-minute truck. Movers who care.
Here's what's trending on the Tuscaloosa thread.
Good Wednesday morning. You may have noticed long lines at the polls yesterday. 3.8+ million Alabamians are registered to vote. 2.256 million went to the polls yesterday. That's 58% voter turnout statewide. In Tuscaloosa County, 55% of the voters turned out, with Pickens County producing the largest percentage of voters at 63%. Observers say the county school superintendent race helped produce those large numbers. Don Hartley, Town Square Media, Tuscaloosa.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. We do have inclement weather, but traffic for the most part, it's not doing too shabby. We had some earlier problems on 359 right around University. That's since cleared. And now we're looking at construction delays on 2059. This in the southwest direction.
There's American cheese, cheese sauce, bacon or sausage, all rolled up into one warm tortilla. Want the boss of breakfast burritos? Gotta be Wendy's at participating U.S. Wendy's.
Road tripping, business travel, or bringing your car in for repairs. All great reasons to rent a Toyota at Tuscaloosa Toyota. You can rent the latest Toyota models for a day, a week, or a weekend. Every Toyota rental car comes with 24 hours roadside assistance.
Is the place to be. Visit us now to save big and discover why so many are switching to BMW. BMW of Tuscaloosa. Take your dreams for a drive.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
The sky cloudy at times today and tonight. We'll have the chance of a few scattered showers around. The high today 77, tonight's low 64. Tomorrow and Thursday mostly cloudy. A chance of showers and storms both days. Highs between 75 and 78. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 67 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
A national championship team covering a national championship team. The best sports talk in the state. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Welcome back to Inside the Locker Room. Yellowwood pressure treated pine from Great Southern Wood. If it doesn't have the yellow tag on it, you certainly don't want it. The only thing I'll say about the election is yesterday I went to vote. I went right after the show, and where I vote, they were chasing down. There were so many cars there. I said, I'll go back. So I waited and went back like an hour and something later. And still a lot of cars. I'm like, well, I got practice, so I got to get in line. If I'm going to do it, I just got to do it. So I stood in line to vote yesterday, probably for about an hour and 20 minutes, and saw a ton of people that I knew standing in line. But when I left, the line was even further out the door than when I started. And I think most people knew who was going to win Alabama, but I think people just felt like it was they need to get out and vote. And so I think people care. So it was nice to see so many people out there, certainly in my area, vote. And then Jenny went after work, and she walked right in and voted right out the door. So I guess I didn't do very well on the time of that. But let's get to the Yellowwood hotline and get Philip in. Good morning, Philip.
Good morning, y'all. Well, one thing about the polls last night is that we can count on is there's going to be movement in the projections next Tuesday night when they do the new projections. So you got Oregon's got Maryland this weekend. They'll stay. Ohio State will beat Purdue. Your danger game is Georgia at Ole Miss. Miami will stay. They'll beat Georgia Tech. Texas will beat Florida. You've got Penn State has got to play Washington. That will be interesting. I think that's a game to keep an eye on. Tennessee will beat Mississippi State. Indiana plays a down Michigan team, but they got to be careful there. BYU and Utah play this week. That's going to be a good game. Notre Dame will move up. They'll play Georgia Tech and win. I said Miami's playing Georgia Tech. I think I'm wrong on that. Alabama and LSU, there'll be movement possibly right there. Hopefully it's not going to be downward movement for Alabama. If it is, they'll just be playing for the Iron Bowl winners patch on their jersey. That'll be it. Boise State plays Nevada, so they'll move up. So there'll be a lot of movement probably this weekend.
Yeah, I think if you're an Alabama fan, I think you got to pull for Georgia. You want that win to still look good. You get Ole Miss on out of there. You don't want them knocking off Georgia and then eking up there close to you there. So you want them to go ahead and knock Ole Miss out and keep that win that you have. One of the better wins in college football. And then you got to go win. If you don't win, it doesn't matter. But,
Ole Miss win already hurts Alabama.
Yeah, you need Georgia to win that game, just to be honest.
Yeah, and the bottom line again right now is Alabama's number 11, which I think you said that would have them play in Texas. Actually, it would be Texas versus Boise State. Penn State and Alabama would be paired based on last night.
Yeah, I just got that based on it.
Well, I know what you're saying, Philip, and I thought the same thing. But when I went on the ESPN, I went in that pay site, it did have it the way Dad said. So it may be ranking them, but they may not. And I got to go back and look. But if you're ranked, I'm not sure where they're all ranked, and I can pull it right here. But say BYU's ranked 8, but if they win the Big 12, they're going to go to 4. So that's going to kind of jumbo it a little bit there. So I didn't really understand that either. It had Alabama playing Texas, and so maybe that's how it turns out. Okay. If based on who gets the buys. Yeah,
I'm just looking at the way it was supposed to be. So I don't know that.
You're right. But anyway, 5 would play 12 and 6, 11 and 7, 10 and 8, 9, and the higher seed gets the home game. So, and I would think in those first round games, when do you think every one of those games would sell out?
Oh, well, that's the thing, Barry. That's what I was going to tag on here. Is if Alabama can win Saturday, that might be enough to propel them into the top 8, which is huge because at that point you're looking at hosting a game that weekend of December 20th and 21st.
Yeah, so the reason it's like that I'm looking at now, BYU is number 9, okay?
Right.
But so there's no other Big 12 team ahead of BYU. But somebody in the Big 12 is going to be in the top 4 because they're going to win the championship. So if they win the championship, that automatically slides them to 4 and pushes everybody else down because the conference champion. So right now they have number 1 Oregon and number 2 Ohio State. We know that can't happen because only one of those guys can win the Big Ten.
That's absolutely right. That is absolutely right. Yeah.
Well, we also have to understand that these last games Saturday, if they can run that score up, somebody comes and doesn't play, they're going to run her up as much as they can because right now we're looking at big numbers. I think BYU's had a screw in to start with, and Barry's right. They'll jump all the way to the top because of the Big 12, but the numbers will be there. The Lane Kiffins of this world, if they can score, they'll score every time.
Yeah, the important thing to remember, Philip, and I know you know this, is they rank them like they see them 1 through 25. They don't figure in conference or who's going to be the champion. Knowing the 4 conference champions are going to get the top 4, so then that's going to jumble it up.
Yeah, I sloppily left that out. I guess I stayed up too late last night. But the big thing is, if LSU beats Alabama, man, LSU is firmly in that top 12 next Monday night. Firmly.
Yeah. If I were SMU, I don't know do they have a complaint? I don't know. They're sitting there at third team, but if they take care of business, they'll ease themselves back up in there. So right now, you only have SMU and Miami as the top teams in the ACC. They're in contention there. But I don't know. I'd have to look at the scenarios as to how Clemson could get themselves in the championship
I'd like to ask
game.
both of you this: is Boise State good enough to beat anybody they play?
I don't know if they're good enough to beat anybody, but I think they've got a really good team.
Well, they're 7-1. Their one loss was to Oregon, and they lost at Oregon 37-34. Oregon's ranked number one in the country. So they went to Oregon and only lost by 3, and that's their only loss. Then I would say, yeah. I would say, yeah.
Well, here's the thing about SMU, Barry, is, I keep forgetting they're in the ACC, and all they've got left is Boston College at home, at UVA, and Cal at home. So they're going to go 11-1.
Yeah. And then I don't know their tiebreakers, and I'd have to study that to see who's going to make it to Charlotte for that ACC championship game. But
right now, my odds would say them and Miami.
You would think, but who did SMU? They're undefeated in the league, so yeah, because if they both stay undefeated, then they would be the only undefeated teams in the ACC, and they would play. Right. So the question would be: Would SMU get in whether they win or lose if they get to Charlotte undefeated in the ACC with only one loss?
Yeah.
So,
right. I don't care about all this. I just hope a woman doesn't get hurt in a man's volleyball game. She won't.
Well,
hopefully that won't happen.
Hopefully not. Whatever. You're right. San Jose State, they have some problems over there too. I think one of the coaches, I don't know. Whatever. Maybe we won't have to deal with that stuff anymore, but we shall see. All right. Anything else, Philip?
No, appreciate y'all. And I'll try
what are you feeling about this weekend, Alabama?
Barry, I don't know if we're tough enough. I'm going to tell you right now.
I agree.
I don't know if we're tough enough.
So if Alabama loses that game, are you even going to care about these rankings anymore, Philip?
No, sir.
You'd be done watching that show.
I'll tell you this. I don't know if the Alabama-Auburn game time is already set. It may have been one of those games where it's set early on in the year. But if that game's not set, that'll be a noon kickoff.
It could be 11 o'clock for real. Yeah, noon. I don't know who else playing that day, but yeah.
Yeah.
So,
possibility.
Tough. Thank you, Phil.
Thank you. All right, y'all. Be good.
All right, we'll go ahead and take this next break. Up at the phone lines, 205-342-9904. We also have some coordinator sound. Those guys met with the media. They've been under a lot of scrutiny, the offensive and defensive coordinators here at Alabama, and so we can play what those guys had to say as well. But if you want to jump in on the show, it's 205-342-9904. It's a Tide 100.9, 1230 AM WTBC. It's the home of Alabama sports.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. We do have inclement weather, but traffic for the most part, it's not doing too shabby. We had some earlier problems on 359 right around University. That's since cleared. And now we're looking at construction delays on 2059. This in the southwest direction here between Joe Malisham and 359. Now you're only riding slow, but it's not necessarily at a halt. With your Tuscaloosa traffic now, Tammy Thomas.
Road tripping, business travel, or bringing your car in for repairs. All great reasons to rent a Toyota at Tuscaloosa Toyota. You can rent the latest Toyota models for a day, a week, or a weekend. Every Toyota rental car comes with 24 hours roadside assistance.
Makes sense for your business.
Go to townsquarelocal.com for a free demo of the Townsquare Business Management Platform. Visit townsquarelocal.com. That's townsquarelocal.com.
Inside the Locker Room with Wimp and Barry on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Welcome back to Inside the Locker Room. Yellowwood pressure treated pine from Great Southern Wood. If he doesn't have the yellow tag on it, then you certainly don't want it. I think people were up late last night driving in. There was like no cars on the street this morning. All right, we'll get to Nick Sheridan here in just a second. Before we do, though, Dad, there's some SEC basketball tonight. If you want to watch Auburn, they'll take on Vermont. Vermont just stayed over here. They knocked off UAB. So that game will be 7 o'clock on ESPN Plus. Also, Lipscomb will travel over to Arkansas. Lipscomb won their first game on the road. And then UNL Monroe will take on LSU. But Auburn, that 15.5-point favorite tonight. I think Bruce Pearl's excited about this team. Janiah Broom's one of the best post guys in the country. They're excited about some of their freshman guards. They've got a pretty versatile team there. It'll be the first look at this version of the Auburn Tigers. How do you see them stacking up this year in the SEC? I guess a little early to tell, but it's a pretty good test for them tonight against Vermont.
Yeah, I don't know. I think, of course, Vermont came in and beat UAB there at UAB. I think Bruce's team's very good. How good, I'm not sure yet. I've visited also with some people who've watched them practice, who are basketball people, and they're saying good. Let's wait to see how good. Broom is a good player. He is, and not taking nothing away from him, he is not the kind of player that's going to carry you. One of your two guard, or your point guard, a couple of guys on the perimeter kind of carry you through and encourage you. He may not be the kind of guy that does that, not taking anything away from his ability. So I think he's got great ability, and he's come on a lot better. He wanted to prove to you he could shoot the three at one time and tried to prove it. And I guess he did. So I think it should be an interesting game. Basketball is right on top of us, and football, so we've got a lot to talk about. But first look there, I don't know about Arkansas. John Calipari, Dad, changing jobs there. He basically overhauled the entire roster. Yep. Kentucky played pretty well the other night. I know they overmatched their opponent, but they shot the ball. Their style of play, I think the people of Kentucky will really like that. Lipscomb with Lenny Acuff runs a pretty sophisticated offense. They're kind of hard to guard. That line's 14.5. But how do you think John Calipari will do at Arkansas? I think he's going to do okay. I think he'll do fine. I think, the fans get down on you quick at Kentucky, and they get down on you quick at Arkansas. They'll continue to have the kind of crowds and home court advantage that they've had in the past. I think he'll do well. I didn't think they were very good defensively, to be honest with you. They didn't guard the dribbler very well, I didn't think. But I think he and his wife said to themselves, there's no use of us fighting this. Everybody's down on us. Let's go somewhere where we appreciate it, plus there's plenty of money. And I think to answer your question, I think he'll do quite well. If I had to pick the teams myself personally, I would pick the Alabamas and Arkansas as the very top of the 16 list. And the rest of them, some of them I don't know, it would be by guess. And then we'd have a couple of teams that were very good last year that are going to struggle, South Carolina being one of them. Yeah,
obviously losing. You don't know about these teams. North Florida, they may be better than we think. But South Carolina losing that game. Texas A&M, probably tough game going to Central Florida. And then, of course, Texas lost. That game was out in Las Vegas. All right, Chase. Dad, Nick Sheridan, a guy who came in. I think he was supposed to be the wide receivers coach. The guy who was here as coordinator came here I think he bought a house, but he went off to the Seattle, and so he was promoted there. I thought he did a pretty good job early here recently. He hasn't the fans haven't liked his play calling as much, but that kind of goes with being the offensive coordinator at the University of Alabama. I think he's a very serious guy, very smart guy. I think there is a method to his, not he has a madness, but I do think he studies hard. Just your thoughts about what he's done. Maybe he just doesn't have great personnel.
I think the big thing is that the head coach has a lot of confidence in him. And I think it's sincere confidence. I don't think it's fake confidence. I think he feels like that he absolutely knows what he's doing. He's talking to him a lot. You don't really see the head coach at Alabama coaching much on the sideline, grabbing his guys by the jersey or patting them on the back or whatever. You just don't see that. But you can, if you watch his mouth, he's talking, generally speaking, on the offensive end. Now, he's a guy that you've experienced this more than I have of not going down to the defensive end. Steve Spurrier did that. Some coaches don't fool with that. They're offensive people, defensive people. As a defensive guy, as the head coach at A&M, so I think he's better than people. Well, no, I don't know about better than people think. I don't think people have been down on him, Barry. I think they will. They've been down a little bit on Milroe. Would you agree to that a little bit?
Yeah, but I think people are blaming him for how he's using him.
Okay.
That's always. But I think Milroe stands in the stinking pocket too long. Get out of there and go. Okay. Yeah, I think there's certain people that are going to blame Milroe. There's certain people that are in Milroe's camp. They always want to talk about the play calling. I think, one game he's throwing the ball to Ryan Williams too much, which they did. There's another, they say they don't stay with the run enough. You got to stick with it and see if it's going to work. And then when Milroe doesn't have as many carries, they talk about you're taking away his strengths there. So let's go ahead and hear a little bit of what Coach Sheridan had to say. We'll let it play. It's about 7 minutes. We may cut it off in the middle of it. We'll see how it goes there. But here's Nick Sheridan in preparation for the LSU game.
Coach Sheridan, we'll go ahead and begin straight to questions. Raise your hand, leave them up for a minute. We'll go ahead and get calling. Colin, we'll start with you on the left.
Hey, Nick. Obviously, Jalen had, a lot of success against LSU last year, kind of his coming out party. I'm curious about how have you seen him kind of approach this week? How have you, I guess, the 2 weeks kind of build up to such an important game, kind of on his end?
I think, his approach has been just daily improvement, being where your feet are. I think that's the message for everybody in the building, is to just be where your feet are and focus on being the best you can be each and every day in practice and preparation. And then that's how you best prepare yourself to go play well on Saturday. So I don't think his approach has changed, in that regard. And I think it's been steady throughout the season, just his consistency and his routine and his preparation. I think that gives you the best chance to play well, in the game and have the most confidence headed into the game when, you lean back on your routines, your preparation, your training. And so I haven't seen that change based on the opponent, throughout this season, not just this week, but in previous weeks as well.
All the way in the back on the left. Hey, Coach, just with one of the biggest games of the year coming up this weekend, what's the advantages of having this bye where it's situated right now going into this week?
Well, I think it gives you an opportunity to maybe heal up a little bit. I think, the advantages are the same for both teams, obviously. So anytime you have a little bit of a time, to reflect, you can get healthy. You can identify things that you need to work on. You maybe get a hair bit more time, just a preparation for the opponent. But they're on the same schedule that we're on. And so, ultimately it'll be whoever used the time the best, prepared the best. And we're still right in the middle of that. These next few days certainly are important. The practices, the preparation, the finalizing of the plan from the staff. And so that'll really be the focus here the next few days. And so obviously, use the time to try to, help individuals get better, help your unit get better, help your team get better. And we're still, have preparation to be had here the next few days.
Tony, second row left.
They rank top 10 in sacks. Just what have you seen from their pass rush, and how do you kind of combat that, without giving away too much of your game plan?
Yeah, I mean, certainly they're very disruptive. I think that jumps off the film. The production of the front 7 players, both the edges, linebackers, interior players, they have had a lot of success that way. And I think the way that you try to, counter that is similar no matter who you're going against, is to try to stay out of those situations that are pretty obvious passing situations where they really can pin their ears back and rush. And so being efficient and effective on first and second down will be important. Staying out of third and long situations will be important. I think that's the case anytime you're playing a very disruptive front. Is to stay in situations that, make you unpredictable as far as run and pass and what you're trying to accomplish. And so, making sure that we're balanced and staying out of some of those situations where, it's friendly for good pass rushers, I think that'll be important for us.
Yeah, last open week, you guys then went into the Georgia game and had a really strong start. What do you want to replicate in terms of how guys are preparing and in terms of how they approach just starting the game?
Well, we always want to start fast. I think that's really important, particularly when you're on the road. I think that is helpful. There's no doubt about it. I don't think anything that occurred in the past relative to previous bye weeks or previous games will have any impact on this one. But I would say, the importance of starting fast in a game is certainly important. Like I said, particularly when you're on the road and you're dealing with the crowd and those types of things, to be able to get off to a good start, I think is always beneficial, but certainly when you're on the road.
Katie, front left. You kind of just answered what I was going to ask a little bit about playing on the road. Y'all played well on the road first game against Wisconsin, but not as well the last 2 games. Just kind of maybe what worked well in that Wisconsin game and maybe what have been some of the struggles on the road that y'all are kind of hoping to move past this week?
Well, I think, pretty simply, we just played better. We executed better. We did a better job as coaches. And so certainly that's a point of emphasis, to execute and play cleaner. I think that you talk about some of the personnel that they have, some of the schemes that they have. When you can execute and do your job a little bit more consistently, sometimes you keep them out of those situations where the advantage goes to the defense. And so when you look at those opportunities we've had on the road, we need to play better. And I think that comes down to simple execution. I think making sure as a staff we're putting them in a position to play fast and play confident, because you are dealing with other factors in the game, crowd noise, etc. So making sure that we keep it simple enough so our guys can execute and do their job, I think that'll be important.
Yeah, hey Coach, you just mentioned crowd noise. What did you maybe learn from that Tennessee game that can help you guys going into the road game at Baton Rouge?
Yeah, that we need to be better. I think that's what was evident. We obviously didn't start the game off the right way relative to the noise and the communication. We've continued to work on that, as a group, as a staff, to make sure that, what we're asking them to do in those moments, that they can execute it at a high level. And so I thought there were moments in the game the last time we were in an environment like this where we were fine, we settled in and were able to communicate, but certainly we didn't start the game off the way that we would like. And so, I think the message was to learn and grow from those experiences so that you can do better the next time you get in those environments and atmospheres.
Do you have any other questions for Coach Sheridan?
Okay, roll tide.
All right, there was Coach Sheridan. I think one of the things that fans need to relax about a little bit, and Roman Harper said this yesterday, when Texas A&M changed quarterbacks, they caught LSU off guard. LSU did not prepare for them to run that offense. They've been working against Jalen Milroe for 2 weeks. So just because that quarterback for A&M ran all over, I'm not saying and just because Jalen Milroe ran on them last year, I don't think that's going to have any bearing on what's going to happen this year. They'll be ready for the quarterback run, unlike they were against Texas A&M. So what's happened last year, what's happened the game prior, you do see some things you can exploit. I'm not saying you don't try to run the football, but you can't say, well, these teams have run all over them. That's going to be the formula for it, because I'm sure that's one of the things they've been preparing for all week. All right, we'll go ahead and take this break. Something must have happened there. But Chase and and we'll get him back in, and we'll talk a little bit about that. But I appreciate that sound there from Coach Sheridan. You listen to Tide 100.9 and 1230 AM WTBC. It's the home of Alabama sports.
Go inside the Alabama Crimson Tide with the Gary Harris Show.
Hey, everybody, it's Gary Harris. Wednesday morning at 9 a.m. It's the Hump Day edition of the Gary Harris Show, and we are loaded. We're going to have Matt Coulter on NASCAR, plus Larry the Music Man, and we'll have another guest as well, plus your phone calls. And that NASCAR conversation is going to be hot, by the way, as we are down to the final race coming up Sunday for the NASCAR Series Championship. That's the Gary Harris Show, Wednesday morning at 9 a.m.
Catch the Gary Harris Show Monday through Friday, 9 to 11 a.m. on Tide 100.9 and Tide100.9.com.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. We do have inclement weather, but traffic for the most part, it's not doing too shabby. We had some earlier problems on 359 right around University. That's since cleared. And now we're looking at construction delays on 2059. This in the southwest direction here between Joe Malisham and 359. Now you're only riding slow, but it's not necessarily at a halt. With your Tuscaloosa traffic now, Tammy Thomas.
Road tripping, business travel, or bringing your car in for repairs. All great reasons to rent a Toyota at Tuscaloosa Toyota. You can rent the latest Toyota models for a day, a week, or a weekend. Every Toyota rental-car comes with 24 hours roadside.
It smells so clean. Downy Rinse and Refresh, it's a dream.
Downy Rinse and Refresh. Fights odor in just one wash. Guaranteed.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
The sky cloudy at times today and tonight. We'll have the chance of a few scattered showers around. The high today 77, tonight's low 64. Tomorrow and Thursday mostly cloudy. A chance of showers and storms both days. Highs between 75 and 78. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 67 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
Roll Tide. The best sports talk, period. Your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Yellow pressure treated pine from Great Southern. Always remember, if it doesn't have the yellow tag on it, you don't want it. Dad, you back with us?
Yes, I am. I'm sorry.
Do you need to get off? Do you need to get off?
I'll hang for a minute.
All right. I was, after Nick shared his clips, I was just saying, I think Roman Harper said this as well. LSU got caught off guard with A&M. They changed quarterbacks in the third quarter. They didn't prepare for that. They've been preparing for Jalen Milroe now for 2 weeks. Probably really been preparing for him for a year based on, if you're LSU, you got to beat Alabama and get to Atlanta. So their eyes are always on those guys. So just because something happened in one game doesn't mean you can exploit them. You try it. Don't get me wrong, but I think if you're hanging your hat on that, you better hang it somewhere else. Just because he had a great game last year, I'm sure they've been looking at ways all year to try to stop him from using his legs. So I don't want people to get so caught up because one team could do it. Another one could, because sometimes there's a lot of factors in that.
Yeah, you got to be, if you're Alabama, you got to be as positive as you feel like you can be without being, wrong in this game. No, I don't think they're comparing scores as much as the kids are. I don't think you go in there and say, we win this game, we're in the Big 12. I don't think you do it like that. This is just the next conference game that you got to play well in. And talk about the history of Alabama playing at LSU and the toughness that Alabama has shown in the past. Stuff like that, I don't think you need to go in there with this is do or die for us. If it's do or die for you, and you die, you die in your other games, and you die in the Auburn game, and you don't want to die in the Auburn game. You got them at home, and Auburn's no good. I got it. I understand. And people are laughing, saying Auburn couldn't be a beating machine, but you never know when you feel like that you have played or playing for a Big 12 berth and you don't make it. That's when you really got to be ready to play, even more so as the season goes along.
Now, There's an elephant in the room, Chase, and you know the elephant's there. You don't have to tell everybody the elephant's in the room because everybody can see an elephant. He's pretty big, and you don't normally. I think these players understand that this is a must-win as far as the playoff goes. I don't think as a staff. I mean, I guess you can address it because they know it's there, but do you address it or do you not? Saying, hey, we got to go in there, and it's a one-game season for us. Otherwise, you know, your dreams of the playoff could possibly be gone. Or do you not even address that as a coach with your players? Depp?
Well, I think that's a good question and a question I don't have the answer to. I think maybe
they can see the elephant in the room.
I think maybe here's what you do. I think you leave it up to the position coaches. Then you say something about it as you get ready. But I think the position coaches, the offensive linemen, you know, I think they want to really prepare well with not the hope you play hard, but not that kind of stuff. But I think the position coaches have a great influence on you, how well your position plays and how much ready they are to play. If Roman Harper's correct, and I tried to make a big deal out of this because that's what he told me when I first called him to get him on, then the running game is critical, and you've got to detect that as the running backs coach or and the offensive line guys. So I think it's is Alabama physically enough physical to go into LSU and win, and maybe that's in the back of my mind a little bit.
Chase, you're young. You're probably the age of the players. There's an elephant in the room. Do I need to tell you there's an elephant in here, or do you see it? No, I don't have to address that with you.
We see it everywhere. Social media. We probably talking to our parents about it. It's everywhere. So if you bring it up, it's probably going to get even more just like heightening. The pressure is going to get to it, especially for me. I don't want to. I just want to play. Yeah, I don't want to hear about it. Elephant, tiger. I don't care. I just want to play.
Yeah. Well, you know, this is a pressure game. Because these. Especially Alabama, they're used to being in the playoff, or they were getting in the 14 playoff, and so certainly they're going to get in a 12 team. Well, they possibly control their own destiny, but if they were to drop this game in Baton Rouge, that's over. But it's the same for LSU as well. All right, we'll take this top of the hour break. We'll swing on down to Skyland Boulevard too. We'll talk to Justin, find out what's going on over at Tuscaloosa Toyota. Also, Bill Cameron will join us at 8:15. We'll get the thoughts of Hugh Freeze, this Auburn football program, and where they're headed. We'll also get him to break down this Auburn basketball team as they take on Vermont tonight, 7 o'clock, down on the Plains. You listen to Tide 100.9 and 12:30 a.m. WTBC is the home of Alabama sports.
For Fridays at the Free at Innisfree Irish Pub, 1925 University Boulevard, downtown. Come join Wyatt Fulton for lunch at Innisfree Irish Pub.
Road tripping, business travel, or bringing your car in for repairs. All great reasons to rent a Toyota at Tuscaloosa Toyota. You can rent the latest Toyota models for a day, a week, or a weekend. Every Toyota rental-car comes with 24 hours roadside assistance and is backed by an entire team of people you know and trust. Rent a Toyota and let's go places. Reserving yours is a breeze at TuscaloosaToyota.com.
The Alabama Securities Commission protects you from financial fraud. Anyone asking you for investment money must be licensed. You're careful with your money. Fraudsters aren't. Before you invest, call our hotline at 1-800-222-1253 to verify the licensing of the person making an offer and the product.
And Fridays at the Free, every Friday during football season with Tide 100.9 and Innisfree Irish Pub, located at 1925 University Boulevard, downtown.
Serving part-time in the Army National Guard has led to a lot of firsts for me. It paid for me to be the first person in my family to go to school. That education got me to the first day at my dream job, which I can still hold while I serve part-time. That job and the home loan benefits I got from the Army National Guard helped me buy my first house. I also know that I will be one of the first to respond if my community ever needs me.
Sponsored by the Alabama Army National Guard. Aired by the Alabama Broadcasters Association and this station.
WTBC Tuscaloosa and W265CG Tuscaloosa, a Town Square media station. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
From the Fox Sports Studios in Los Angeles, here's Kevin Wyatt.
NFL news this morning. Cowboys owner Jerry Jones appeared on 105.3 FM The Fan in Dallas and announced that quarterback Dak Prescott will be out for some time.
It's extended period of time here, so I wouldn't dare make a prediction when it could be. It's likely we'll IR him, so we'll see kind of how his rehab goes.
Injured reserve would have Prescott miss at least the next 4 games. The Cowboys making a trade this morning, acquiring Panthers wide receiver Jonathan Mingo in exchange for a 4th-round selection. The Detroit Lions are acquiring Browns pass rusher Zadarius Smith. They'll also get a 2026 7th-round pick in exchange for a 2025 5th-round pick and a 2026 6th-round selection. And Khalil Herbert going from the Bears to the Bengals.
Inside the Locker Room with former Crimson Tide basketball coach Wimp Sanderson and his son, former SEC and ACC assistant basketball coach Barry Sanderson. It's time to take you inside the locker room on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Welcome back to the second hour of Inside the Locker Room. I want to thank Andrew Kniffer. He's my All-State insurance agent. Let him become yours out at 4705 McFarland Boulevard, Suite 3 over in Northport. Give Andrew and his staff a call, 205-722-9201. You're looking for home life auto. These guys will absolutely take great care of you. They do it for me, and they'll do the same for you. So once again, 205. Lost my thing here. 722-9201. All right, we're going to go out to Skyline Boulevard. We're going to talk a little Tuscaloosa Toyota with my main man, Justin Troll. Good morning, Justin. How are you, sir?
Hey, Justin. Hey, doing good. How are you guys doing?
We're fine. Tell us about what's happening down on Skyline Boulevard at the one and only Tuscaloosa Toyota today.
Yeah, so we started Toyotathon this month, and there's a lot of new incentives, a lot of holiday cash that you can get on a lot of different units. And so, now's a good time to buy if you were waiting for that perfect time and you're thinking, well, hey, when's a good time to buy a car? And, you may have different opinions, but right now they've released all these incentives. So right now is the best time to buy. This month, those Toyotathon incentives will run all the way through December. And so if you're looking for the best time to buy, right now is the best time.
All right. Explain the Toyotathon to me, Justin.
Yeah, so Toyotathon is when they try to push a lot of units. They'll roll over incentives that was on the 24 model. Like yesterday, I sold a couple Tundras. They've moved all the incentives off the 24 model. You can buy a 25 model for the same kind of money. Plus, you get special financing, holiday cash. It's just a great time. That's just one. There's Camrys, Corollas, all of our units. And, Barry, like I tell you every week, we're not in love with any of them. So we want them gone. So, right now is that time. And, looking forward to serving a lot of people in this month. There's been with the presidential election going on, people have been waiting around. And, that really don't change a whole lot in our world. But, a lot of reasons that people have been waiting. Now's the time not to wait. If you want the best deal, we've got over 150 cars in our used car inventory and a ton of incentives right now on the new cars. So right now is an incredible time to come check us out. And you can just start that process right there, at TuscaloosaToyota.com.
I had a guy ask me, Justin, earlier this week, said, hey, I want to get my child a vehicle for Christmas, so I want to make sure I can get what we want to get. How soon do I need to go? So I don't know. I'll ask Justin on Wednesday. Obviously, I know it probably depends on what they're looking for, but a lot of times that's a nice Christmas gift. People try to plan it out now to make sure they get the exact vehicle that they want. Maybe walk somebody through the process and what they need to do there to make that happen by Christmas.
Yeah, obviously, if you're looking for something, that is. You're open. Maybe you're not open. Maybe you want something exactly like you want it, and you're not open on color. it might be a good time, within the next couple weeks to go ahead and come see us so that we can go ahead and start that process. You don't want to wait to the last minute, and I say that for businesses too. They try to capitalize before the year's over with on trucks. Well, every business is trying to do that. I had 2 businesses yesterday buy Tundras from me, and I say that because you don't want to wait to the last minute, so we can't capture something that you might want for your business, because if it runs into January and you have to date it, in January, you can't capitalize on it being a 20, done in the calendar year of 24. So you don't want to wait to the last minute. You're right. Just go ahead and connect with us. You don't have to. Last year, I sold a bunch of cars right there at Christmas, and I've basically hid them on the lot in the back for people that didn't want to come pick them up till right before Christmas. None of that's a problem. We make it easy like we do everything else right there at Tuscaloosa Toyota.
You even put a bow on it for them, won't you, Justin?
Absolutely. We got about 3 bows as big as the hood of the car, so we like doing that. That makes it fun, Barry. This time of the year is a fun time of the business for us.
Yeah. So if you're looking, Jenny, if you're listening, you want to buy me a truck, you got a couple of weeks to get down there and get that done. You don't have to put a bow on mine, Justin, if she comes down there.
Yeah, Jenny.
Well, she was asking for some Christmas ideas. I sent her this sports media room that had TVs all over the place, and she asked for ideas, and I send them, and all she does is roll her eyes at me, Justin. So,
yeah, Jenny should do that. Jenny should do that for you.
She should. Talk about this website. I'm looking at it right now, man. I can look at the new inventory. Do you guys update the website when I click new inventory or pre-owned? How often do you update it? Is this stuff what I really see there? And I can also rent a Toyota right here at the website. A lot of great things right here at TuscaloosaToyota.com.
Yeah, and so the website, as good as it was, Barry, we revamped that website 2 months ago to make it even easier to navigate. We're always trying to, get better and better and better. And so that website's even been revamped within the last couple months to make it easy for you to go on there and do anything you want to do. A lot of people had an easy process of doing that. Remember, we had the tire sale last month where we sold 1,000 tires, just so many tires last month, and people were able to go on there, connect, and get all of that done easy. Here's the next thing, Barry, renting a car. People right now in the holiday season want to rent a car, want to go ahead and lock it in. You can do that right there easy at TuscaloosaToyota.com.
All right. Dad, any problems with your car we need to talk to Justin about before we let him go?
No, I think it's fine. I get a little bit confused on directions, but it's okay. It's just a good car. I like it.
Hey, Wimp, did you do a blue plate for the presidential election last night?
No, I was concerned about it, though, but Marianne's not going to be the quarterback. and Billy Bob is not going to play on the women's golf tour.
Justin, you had to ask, didn't you?
I knew the way to ask it, and he clarified it.
Yeah. There won't be any questions as to what bathroom you go into either, Justin, just in case you're wondering.
There you go.
Yeah. Anyway, but you'll sell cars to Democrats, Republicans, Independents. If they didn't vote, you don't care. You'll sell them a car down there, won't you, Justin?
That is not a qualifier. That's where we work.
You don't even need to talk politics when you come down there.
That's right.
So, all right. What did you think about the Bama Hoops team? Looked pretty good game 1, right?
Man, how does he have so? Man, golly, I don't know how to put it into words. The amount of talent that he's got, and I don't know, Wimp, is that as far as looking at what he's got across the board? Have you ever seen us have 1 through 14 or 15 or whatever? That many guys. I mean, even Fred.
If they're as good as they say they are, I haven't. I don't recruit anymore. I try to keep up with it best I can on the internet, but going and seeing them, I don't. And generally speaking, you might miss a little bit on one, but I think his is so talented, you probably didn't.
Yeah, I think the one kid from Mobile that went out to Missouri that was going to Kansas, they got ended up being a lot better than they thought. I just, big guys are hard to get, to be honest with you, and they got like 4 guys that are 6'11" that they can play. So you just don't see a lot of size like that with Sherrell, Mari, then obviously the kid from North Carolina, his name just dropped right out of my mind, Stevenson. Yeah. So you're talking about guys that are 6'10", 6'11", 7 foot right there. Reed 6. So they got a lot of length and big guys. So that should be a great year. And then they got the
Oaks can choose between a Tundra, a Land Cruiser, a Sequoia.
That's right.
A Forerunner.
Right.
He's got his pick.
Yeah, that's right. He can just close his eyes and bump into one and put him in, and he's as good as the next one. So
that's when you know you got it going on.
It's a good problem. All right, Alabama LSU. Be renting some Toyotas to go over there. Who wins that game, Justin? Before you go,
I like the 2-week bye. I like the way we fared coming out of the 2-week bye against Georgia. I was just talking to somebody about that a while ago. I don't know where Wimp's headed with this. He may think I'm crazy. Is the line still at 2.5?
I hadn't checked the line today. I will. But
I watched LSU. They struggled with Alabama last year with Jalen.
3. Alabama's a 3-point favorite. 3.
Alabama's a 3-point favorite?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know if Alabama covers the 3 points. I think that game's close, but watching,
that's going to be a nail biter then.
Yeah, I think somehow, some way, not being a homer here, I just think Alabama finds a way to win that game.
You're more optimistic than me, but I'm a pessimist. So,
I'm basing it off of two things.
Oh, hey, do what you do.
The Milroe way he played against them last year, and then I watch him play Texas A&M. I watched LSU play Texas A&M last week, and I'm telling you, they struggled mightily when that mobile quarterback came in.
Justin, you hadn't been listening to the show this morning. When they put that mobile quarterback in, he went into the third quarter. They had not prepared for him, so they will be prepared for Milroe.
Question, did they prepare for Jalen Milroe last year?
Yeah, their defense was horrible last year. Everybody went through them last year. So, and that game was here, so it's going to be there. I'm just giving you something else to think about. I hope you're right. I hope Milroe runs for 200 on them. But it's going to be tough down there at night in Baton Rouge.
I agree. Yeah, absolutely. Hey, look, it'll be something fun. And you guys have a great week and look forward to next week.
Go sell some cars. If Jenny calls you, text me. I'll let you know what color truck I want.
Let's do it.
See you. All right, we'll take the break here. We'll get to Bill Cameron, find out what's going on down on the plains. Somebody sent me a message, I guess because of the election last night, that they rolled Toomer's Corner last night. So you think that's true?
I don't know, probably.
You listen to Tide 1.
They ain't got nothing to do with
They said, man, we got all this extra toilet paper. What are we going to do? Well, let's just, whoever wins the election,
let's go basketball.
Let's go roll Let's go roll Toomer's Corner. How do they get all that toilet paper down? I mean, they got so much paper up there, and the next day you wouldn't have known there was one stitch. But somebody rolls your yard, that stuff stays up in the tree for like 2 years. You listen to Tide 100.9. It's the home of Alabama sports.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. We do have inclement weather, but traffic for the most part, it's not doing too shabby. We had some earlier problems on 359 right around University. That's since cleared. And now we're looking at construction delays on 2059. This in the southwest direction here.
Place to be. Visit us now to save big and discover why so many are switching to BMW. BMW of Tuscaloosa. Take your dreams for a drive.
From the University of Alabama, this is Crimson Tide Today. It's a daily update on Bama sports and it's brought to you by Conecuh Sausage, a true Southern flavor since 1947 and the official smoked sausage of the Crimson Tide. Visit online at conecuhsausage.com. Hello again, everybody. I'm Roger Hoover. On Monday, Alabama men's basketball started the season with a win against UNC Asheville. Here are some post-game thoughts from the head coach of the Crimson Tide, Nate Oates.
Yeah, I thought our guys responded to some challenges. You know, we turned it over too much in the exhibitions. We turned it over too much in the first half. Second half, we came out, only had 2 turnovers. I think 12 assists to 2 turnovers. Everybody on the team had an assist outside of Chernovsky, who only played a minute and a half. So thought the ball was moving well. Thought we did a better job on the offensive boards in the second half. You know, I thought we got to the rim, finished well. So good first game to start the season. We obviously know we're going to have some tougher games coming up here.
Have some tougher games, but you had an opponent that
pretty skilled, and yet your squad was able to do an awful lot on the defensive end that kept them from displaying a whole lot of that tonight.
Yeah, our defensive effort's been great. I think you see that.
I'll have more in a moment.
Favorite jeans, favorite shirt. Got Conecuh sausage and I'm firing it up. Yeah, everybody knows it's how I get my grill on. You can smell that flavor up and down the road. It's a little taste of heaven, and everybody knows. It's how I get my grill on. Conecuh sausage. It's just a little taste of heaven.
Join us tonight for Hey Coach and the Kalen DeBoer Show, live at 6 p.m. Central from Baumhauer's Victory Grill in Tuscaloosa. Crimson Tide Today is brought to you by Conecuh Sausage. Crimson Tide Today is a production of the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield.
You're listening to Inside the Locker Room with Wimp and Barry, only on Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Welcome back to Inside the Locker Room. Get right up to the Tuscaloosa Toyota hotline. He's the ESPN 106.7 The Drive every Monday through Friday, 4 to 6 down in Auburn, Opelika. Joins us every Wednesday, Bill Cameron. Good morning, Bill. How are you, sir?
Hey, Bill. Doing pretty good, guy.
Bill, did they roll Timmer's Corner last night?
No.
All right. Somebody sent me a message, said they rolled it, I guess, after the election. Dad, and I said, well, they got.
Well, I haven't been down there. I looked at the I looked at the cam. I didn't see anything. I mean, somebody may have had some extra TP, but I don't think it was a big deal.
So no. fake news that was rolled. So you person that's texted me that's not true. That's not what we called to talk about. Let's talk hoops first. Auburn, first game tonight against Vermont, the Vermont team that beat UAB on the road. UAB's a good basketball team, so that would tell you right there that the Vermont's got a good team. I think the line's 14.5 there tonight. Will that be a sellout? I'm sure it will. All the games, I'm sure, are sold out there at Neville Arena. Just tell us about the excitement around Auburn basketball, especially with football struggling. People are probably ready to get to hoops, aren't they, Bill?
You are right about that, Barry. Yeah, this will be the 56th straight sellout in Auburn basketball. That's unbelievable. We were just talking about it yesterday, saying, you would have thought, you'd lost your mind if you'd said something like that just a few years ago. But now this is a good Vermont team defensively. They're used to winning. They have won. Just looking at some of the notes on this, I mean, they win their conference, the America East, just about every year. They're looking to get a four-peat this year. John Becker has won 20 games in he's been there 14 years, and every year that has been a full season. Obviously, we didn't during COVID, but every year that there's been a full season, he's won at least 20 games. And they were in the top 10 nationally last year in scoring defense. They did a great job against UAB, as you said, on Monday night. So this one's going to be interesting. I mean, because right now I think Bruce is more confident in his defense than the offense, and it may be, if Auburn can get 75 points tonight, that may be a huge accomplishment offensively, because I think Vermont only allowed 63 last year and held most of their opponents under 70.
Yeah.
As a Brim kid, plays in a way that I don't know that he's going to be the leader of the team. I think when you talk about them, you mentioned his name first. I like for my guards to sort of lead the team and be really, really good to bring the postmen along. That's just me. Do they have any individuals now that the point guard is gone that kind of runs the team on the floor, and they look to him as to how they're going to play?
And Wimp, I'm not 100% sure which one it's going to be, because they've been working three different players at the point. Denver Jones, who was the two guard last year, has gotten a long look there at the point, along with J.P. Pegues, who came in from Furman. and then they've got the freshman Tahad Pettiford. I didn't get a chance to go to the exhibition game on Friday, so I haven't had a chance to see anything except a little bit of practice. But yeah, that's a really interesting question to me. I think they need somebody to be that leader, be that quarterback there at point guard, and I'm really interested to see if it's going to be, it really needs to be one. They need to have one. I think a couple of the guys, I think I haven't seen enough of J.P. Pegues, but I think Denver could be, and Tahad is he's extremely talented, but it's unusual to have it be a true freshman to be your leader there of the team.
How about Baker, the kid who got kicked out last year in the NCAA tournament? He's back, good defender, kind of versatile. Chad Mazzaro Baker, I'm sure I'm pronouncing that wrong, but
Baker Mazzaro.
Baker Mazzaro, yes. I think he's kind of an energy guy. He plays to the crowd. The crowd loves him. I'm sure he feels bad about what happened last year in the NCAA tournament, but I look for him to have a big year for Auburn.
Yeah, well, he's a guy that the thing that Bruce wanted and what we've heard thus far here in the preseason is he's a little more under control. He's still got that energy. I mean, he's a guy that can create so much defensively. He's got those long arms. He's really quick and can create. And in the two exhibition games, he didn't score a lot, but still he was plus 28 and plus 29 in the two games that he has been out there. He just creates so much. So yeah, he is definitely an energy guy. I'm really interested to see how they're going to handle. I was talking about points a couple of minutes ago, but the wing spots, because they've got Miles Kelly transfer from Georgia Tech, there's no question he's the best shooter on this team. He played Friday night after missing a couple of weeks with mono. Had only practiced one time, went out and scored 15 points in 20 minutes the other night, and is also a solid defender. So they've got a couple of guys. It's going to be interesting to see. Chad was a preseason, I think, third-team all-conference, but he's not assured of being a starter, and he did really well coming off the bench last year. That's one of the things that's going to be interesting to see. How they mix and match. Do they play the two of them at the same time, or is one coming in for the other?
Well, that speaks to Alabama and Auburn's depth. You got that quality of guy possibly coming off the bench. So it should be fun year in the state with Alabama and Auburn. Look forward to watching Auburn tonight.
One thing I wanted to ask Barry, I had listened to a radio show the other day, and these people. Callers and these people, they wore the football coach out at Auburn. I mean, they wore him out. They wore him completely out.
Were you listening to my show on Monday? I was going to say there were
probably a lot of
more
shows.
than a little bit of that.
There's
too.
A lot of shows wearing him out right now.
Let me ask you this question: has it gotten to the point that the athletic director is scratching his head, and when you scratch your head, you're trying to think about what you should do? Is it got that's the best way for me to put it. I don't want to.
No, I don't think so, Wimp. I really don't. I know. I mean, everybody's frustrated. There's no question about it. People have talked about, Hugh looks sick. Well, yeah, I'm sure he is sick at what's going on. He's never had anything like this happen. But I have heard nothing that would indicate that John Cohen or the people that really matter. I mean, the ones that he needs in his corner are concerned yet. And I mean. The best indication of that right now is, and hey, there's no guarantee this is going to hold, but the fact that the recruiting class has still thus far been held together because they're buying in and believing that they're going to be able to make the difference next year. It has been an incredibly frustrating season offensively, and that's why people are really beside themselves, because that's what everyone expected from Hugh is, well, you're going to have good offense. Well, what's happened is it's been the opposite. DJ Durkin's defense has really been playing well. Auburn's second in the SEC in total defense and in scoring defense. They're in the top 25 nationally in both, but they just can't seem to be able to score points. And I would expect, I'd be really surprised if there aren't some changes and the staff. But I think Hugh's still in good stead with the folks that he needs to have in his corner. But they're not going to sit there and enjoy it if Auburn keeps losing. The best thing that they've got going for them so far is they still have been playing hard. It's going to be interesting to see after the open date this week, what things look like for the last 3 games.
Well, it goes to a point where I told you so. You should have got the quarterback, that kind of thing.
Oh, yeah.
People,
no question about that.
Saying that we're good. We're good to where we are. And we like our team real well. And then of course, the fans are saying, "I told you so." Type thing.
Yeah.
I think it's come down to that on one quarterback.
Yeah, Bill, I don't know them like you do. I think they got to change their mindset. They play so conservative. When they ran the ball on 3rd and 22 the other day, I was like, good Lord, they got to play like Gus Malzahn played against Alabama. Just let it all freaking hang out and stop being so conservative. He throws a pick, he throws a pick. At this point, what does it matter? Get loose and play. Open up the playbook, sling it around. They play tight to me on offense. Am I wrong about that?
No, you're absolutely right. What Hugh Freeze said a couple of weeks ago is exactly what they're doing. They're playing not to lose.
Yeah,
they're not playing free as Hugh calls it. And I think a lot of it is because of the turnovers that happened early. Auburn's cut back on the turnovers, but the scoring's gone down even more. So you're exactly right on that. It's been a little confusing though. I wonder, I think one of the reasons there were really a lot of howls after the ball game this past week is what happened up in Lexington. It didn't look like Auburn decided to keep doing that. They went back to not relying on the run. I mean, sure, you can be conservative, but if you've got a horse that you can ride, you ought to saddle him up.
Well, you know what? They'll come to Tuscaloosa and they'll play like that because they got nothing to lose. And then everybody said, why did we not play like that all year? They'll come up here and play Alabama differently than they played anybody all year, and they'll play a lot better because they feel like they got nothing to lose, and they will play loose, and he will coach loose. But then you will say, why didn't we do that all year? Why didn't we do that when we got down? I guarantee that's going to happen, Bill.
I agree with you 100%, Barry.
As far as the Dad and I talked about, you got to have hope. If you have hope, then people can kind of suck it up and swallow it and say, but where's the hope meter on the scale of 1 to 10 right there? I guess if the recruits stay, it's going to be okay. Where is the hope in the future?
I still think it's on the upper half. It's not a 2 or a 3. It's not a 9 or a 10 right now because you haven't seen, if we just had that one other piece, people think that. But no, it is hinging on the recruits and the young guys that we've seen this year, especially defensively. Man, I mean, there's got to be some, a lot of excitement about a team that's playing 6 or 7 freshmen. And then when you count second-year guys, Auburn's playing 8 first or second year guys an awful lot on defense. So there's a chance this is going to be a really good team defensively for the next few years. And, again, the thought is get somebody to get these young receivers the ball, but holding on to these guys. That's what's going to be key here is, can you hang on to the nucleus of the young players and can you hang on to the recruiting class? That's the hope that Auburn has right now because Auburn definitely should have won some of these games. It's not because they're less talented, but if you can get even more talented, maybe you can get back to that freestyle, freewheeling type of offense that folks had expected.
I think the biggest week in Auburn football for the future is going to be the week after the Alabama game. How many guys get in the portal?
That's right.
That is going to be a humongous week for the direction of the next season and where everybody thinks, right? If they can hold on to everything they got, if you lose, maybe you're going to lose 1 or 2, but the main ones that are there now, but that's a humongous week for Auburn football, isn't it, Bill?
Oh, when you're talking about the transfer portal opening up and the December signing period, that is absolutely the future of Auburn football. The immediate future of Auburn football hinges absolutely on that time.
Yeah. Your thoughts about what you saw about the committee, the top 25 they put out? They just rank them 1 through 25. Obviously, that doesn't mean like BYU, I think, is 9, but if they win the Big 12, they'll be in the top 4. It looks like they probably got it right. It makes a lot of these games interesting as we move through each and every week.
Yeah, and again, I mean, the thing to remember is it doesn't since you're going to just because you're like right now with the Big Ten, Oregon and Ohio State are 1-2. Well, only one of them is going to be getting that first round bye. So it's really interesting to look at this list and see how many teams there are that really do have a shot. We're just talking about it a little yesterday. All the concern that there had been, are there really going to be 12 teams that are deserving? They're more than 12. I think that this year you're going to have the argument that, 13, 14, 15, whatever, are going to feel like they're in there, and that's going to give them the opportunity to go ahead and I think expand this thing beyond 12 here pretty soon.
Yeah.
I don't really have anything else. Anything baseball-wise we need to know?
They're sort of winding things down. They're doing the players have chosen up and going to have their little World Series this week, and then after they do that, the coaches are going to divide them up and have their World Series next week. They like what they've seen thus far. I think they feel like they've got a lot more pop offensively than they have the last couple of years. So that's what I'm hearing so far. I just can't wait for the rest of the work being done on the stadium because it looks so neat outside.
Bill, tell everybody where they can find you.
Yeah, it's The Drive every day, 4 to 6 on ESPN 106.7. You can check us online at ESPNAU.com or you can go to radioalabama.net. Join us live or catch the podcast.
Thank you, Bill. We'll be watching that Vermont game tonight. Should be fun. Thank you.
Oh, yeah. Looking forward to it. No question.
Thank you, sir.
Have a great week.
You too. All right, let's take the break here, Deb. Let's tell them about our great friends over at Bryant Bank before we get to break.
Deciding to open up a bank account, or you need to open up a brand new one, or to change from one bank to another, then Bryant Bank is the place for you to look at. You'll walk in, and the head banker or the guy that runs the show will visit with you, and the people that work with him will be very interested in trying to get you to put your money in a safe place. And I think that's the key, because so many people, especially people of age, are being taken advantage of by people coming in and trying to sell them something, and your banker knows all about this. So go by Bryant Bank and tell them that you heard my thoughts on that. And Barry and I feel like that Bryant Bank is really the place for you to go, and I think that you will feel the same way once you check them out. They're good people. They are homegrown people, same area code, same zip code, same everything. I just like people handling my money that I kind of know them. So go by Bryant Bank and tell me you heard it on our show.
All right, we'll take the break here. We'll open up the phone lines. We'll also see if Dad's doing any studying on the Blue Plate special, any games he's looked at. Currently, Chase, the record's over 500. What is it, 6-5 right now? So we're trying to get way above 500 so we can be in the money. And you can be rolling in here and you a new Toyota, Justin. You listen to Tide 100.9 and 1230 AM WTBC. It's the home of Alabama sports. Did I call you Justin?
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. We do have inclement weather, but traffic for the most part, it's not doing too shabby. We had some earlier problems on 359 right around University. That's since cleared. And now we're looking at construction delays on 2059, this in the southwest direction.
Every in-stock 2025 Nissan Sentra with 30 available, plus every 24 Kicks and Versa in stock. Don't wait, these units will fly away from Townsend Nissan.
365 24/7. You'll find road and utility crews, tow truck, law enforcement, and first responders working along Alabama's roadway.
We're making improvements and helping our communities stay connected.
We're working hard to make sure you're safe on the road. Now we need your help to make sure we're safe too.
Alabama's Move Over law requires you to move over a lane when you see flashing lights on the roadside.
At RexMD.com, we've made the process fast, easy, and affordable. Visit RexMD.com right now to get started. That's REXMD.com.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
The sky cloudy at times today and tonight. We'll have the chance of a few scattered showers around. The high today 77, tonight's low 64. Tomorrow and Thursday mostly cloudy. A chance of showers and storms both days. Highs between 75 and 78. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 70 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
Where the season never ends. This is your home of Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Welcome back to Inside the Locker Room. We appreciate Bill Cameron joining us. We had Justin there. We'll get right to the Yellowwood hotline. Get Tom in. Good morning, Tom.
Hey, Tom.
Morning, Barry. Morning, Coach.
How are you, man?
Coach, I called in because Barry's a whippersnapper, and you got to do something with him.
Okay.
Whippersnapper.
Afraid I ain't gonna make that. I'm afraid. Go ahead.
I'm a whippersnapper.
Well,
is that good or bad?
Yeah, I've got suggestions about it if y'all don't mind.
Okay.
Last week, Coach, I called in, and you agreed with my call when I said that part of the makeup of the decision-making of the playoff committee will be those teams that are equal in record but will be chosen because they're more of a TV product than others.
Yeah.
And Barry said, "Oh, I hope not. I hope that's not part of the decision." Now, since I made that, and you agreed, and I used the example of the old days of the bowls, and you know good and well I'm right.
Yeah, you are.
That the bowls determine the people they send invitations to on how people travel following that team, and you knew, and I know that that's true.
Well, Barry gets mixed up. Barry gets mixed up.
I get that in the bowls, but I would hope that in the playoff, we're not talking about the bowls.
And I'm going to prove my point. Case in point. Since then, Coach, it's been two guests on. Max Howell said Monday that the reason Alabama got in last year was because they were more enticing to the TV audience than Florida State was.
Yeah.
And we all know Florida State lost their starting quarterback, so that was a true statement. And yesterday, Roman Harper, all of us love Roman, and we trust him, and he has good stuff.
He was wrong.
He said they will go with the brand over record.
I'm going to tell you this. I love Roman, and I think Roman is really good. But if Roman Harper thinks that the committee is going to take Alabama over Tennessee at both at 10-2, he's wrong about that. They will take Tennessee all day over Alabama if both are 10-2.
Wrong.
I'm not. The third criteria, the third criteria it goes strength of schedule, and then it goes head to head. They're not going to say that Alabama's schedule is that much tougher.
Now,
and then they go to head to head, and you ain't winning that one, Tom.
I heard what you said, and you're wrong. And here's the head to head. They go head to head, and if all things are equal, they look at who you've played. And if Tennessee is 10-2, they're going to look at Alabama. Well, if they're 10-2, that means they beat Georgia. So, yeah, you're right about that.
Yeah. So, say it again.
If they're 10-2, that would mean they beat Georgia, right?
That's what I said. If they beat Georgia.
But that would mean, but that then when you go head to head, they beat Georgia, we beat Georgia, but they beat us, and that would be the determining factor.
Well, Roman Harper told me that they would take Alabama over Tennessee. That's not right.
But he didn't think that out.
Well, I can't tell you. I can't help that.
Roman was assuming that Georgia's going to beat Tennessee.
If Tennessee and Alabama are 10-2.
Tom, is Georgia going to beat Ole Miss?
Oh, yeah, they're going to beat it. You know, Kevin Scorbinski keeps saying it, and I can't believe I'm saying it, and I agree with it.
What?
Lane Kiffin's not a big game coach. Coach, you run him down the country because he run out on Alabama.
Yeah.
And the Ohio State game, you pointed out he lost that game.
Oh, sure
because
he
he
did.
played
Yeah.
stupid.
Roman even said that.
And you pointed that out. I don't want to hear what Barry's got to say. Barry's wrong.
I just said I was right when on the Tennessee, and that Roman didn't think it out. Now you're saying I'm wrong. I can't be both.
No, two different things. Two different things. Come on, Barry, now.
So did you call me a whippersnapper? Is that good or bad?
You are a whippersnapper.
Is that good or bad?
Because when I said that, I hope that ain't right. Then two of your favorite guests come on and reaffirm what I said.
They're wrong about he's wrong about that.
We'll see. And also, Coach, you remember this. I tell you where all that TV favoritism got started. You remember Roone Arledge for ABC?
Sure. I do.
You know him and Coach Bryant were best friends.
Okay, I didn't know. I never knew they were friends. I didn't know
yeah.
how close. Yeah.
He loved. I'll tell you how much he loved it. You remember that time Walter Lewis was a quarterback and he was struggling in a big game on the afternoon TV.
Yeah,
and Coach Bryant pulled him, and this little smart-aleck girl run over and said, "Why did you pull that black quarterback?" And he said, "Let me tell you something, young lady. I don't owe you an explanation for nothing I do." Remember that?
I thought he said.
Well, yeah.
And
that was the era.
They asked Walter about it. He said, "Yeah, Coach Bryant put me because I wasn't playing with the crap." And but Roone Arledge was at that game. He fired that girl, and she didn't work the second half.
I thought he said I was trying to win the game. Isn't that what he said? When they asked him how he did, he said I was trying to win the game.
Go back and get on YouTube. YouTube's your friend on some of these things you don't know about. But my whole point, what?
Is whippersnapper good or bad?
It's in between. Good, bad. It's in between.
Smart aleck.
Yeah, it is. I equate whippersnapper you and Justin Thomas, two of a kind. You know, he was a whippersnapper for a while, talking about what everybody ought to be doing on the PGA, and somebody got to him and said, "Shut up and play golf." And
shut up and start putting. Good.
Yeah, some of y'all are delusional if you think they're taking Alabama and Tennessee at 10-2. You got to take those glasses off. You and Gary got those glasses on. Slide them glasses off and put them on the table and look at it.
You whippersnapper. See, that's classic whippersnapper right there. Talking to your elders like that.
I got to defend myself, Tom. Y'all whip me around over here if I don't defend myself.
Oh, yeah. And I heard you talking about to Justin about a pickup truck. You got 3 banks full of money, Barry. Quit putting all that on Miss Jenny.
Miss Jenny. Thank you, Tom.
See you.
Thank you. There we go. All right, we'll take a break. Man, Digger is on hold. I don't want to cut Digger short.
He thinks Alabama's going to play Texas, Barry.
No, Digger don't want none of Alabama. He's scared. He just tied 100. He don't want none of Kalen DeBoer. I can tell you that for sure.
Sure don't.
Kalen Norton, he owns Texas.
They beat him.
Kalen DeBoer had to pay taxes on Texas. You listen to Tide 100.9. It's the home of Alabama sports.
Go inside the Alabama Crimson Tide with the Gary Harris Show.
Hey, everybody, it's Gary Harris. Wednesday morning at 9 a.m. It's the Hump Day edition of the Gary Harris Show, and we are loaded. We're going to have Matt Coulter on NASCAR, plus Larry the Music Man, and we'll have another guest as well, plus your phone calls. And that NASCAR conversation is going to be hot, by the way, as we are down to the final race coming up Sunday for the NASCAR Series Championship. That's the Gary Harris Show, Wednesday morning at 9 a.m.
Catch the Gary Harris Show Monday through Friday, 9 to 11 a.m. on Tide 100.9 and Tide100.9.com.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. We do have inclement weather, but traffic for the most part, it's not doing too shabby. We had some earlier problems on 359 right around University. That's since cleared. And now we're looking at construction delays on 2059. This in the southwest direction here between
for his clients. Remember M for money and Mezrano.
If it has a logo on it, call me. 205-800-8000.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
The sky cloudy at times today and tonight. We'll have the chance of a few scattered showers around. The high today 77, tonight's low 64. Tomorrow and Thursday mostly cloudy. A chance of showers and storms both days. Highs between 75 and 78. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3240 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 70 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
Two-time state champion and two-time NIT champion Barry Sanderson breaks down the latest in sports on Inside the Locker Room on Tide 100.9.
Inside the Locker Room. All right, we'll get right to the Yellowwood hotline. We haven't heard this guy in a while. Get Digger in. Good morning, Digger.
Hey, Digger.
That's because I've been busy.
You've been calling other shows, Digger. I hear you on other shows. You like Christian and Corey more than me and Dad?
Oh, well, that's because the judge has me working during the day, running the docket. It's like, please. Hurry up and get this over with. Now, let me talk about Tom for a second, please.
Okay.
There's a massive disconnect between his ears and his brain and his mouth.
Get him.
Okay.
Get him, Digger.
I mean, who is it over there that doesn't understand head to head?
I don't get it, Tom. Digger. I don't get it.
Please. Now, that's an insult. You're trying to rile me up now.
I called Chase Justin a minute ago, so it don't take anything I say seriously. I'm a whippersnapper.
I'm going to let that one go. Tom, it's head to head.
Yeah.
Tom, head
Well, if it is head to head, you're in trouble because the head coach of Alabama's already beaten the head coach of Texas.
Yeah, that wasn't this year, though.
I saw that last night. I'm chomping at the bit for that to happen. I need to exercise my demons now.
If you're a Texas fan and you're an Alabama fan, you want Georgia to beat Ole Miss this weekend. Right, Digger? Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah. Well,
I insist on it. Insist on it. But look, and again, back to this head-to-head thing with Tom. Tom, who won the president election last night?
It was
Trump.
He's
going to say, that's not my president. I can hear him now. Come on, man. It is what it is, head to head. And I just don't understand why y'all have a problem with that. It's head to head.
It's not y'all. I'm saying it.
Yeah.
It's Tom and Roman Harper. So
one last thing.
Yeah.
Can I count on y'all beating LSU this weekend? Come on.
What?
Come on.
Can he count on the Tide knocking off LSU?
Count on them? No.
No, you can't count on it.
By the way, a whippersnapper.
Yeah.
Y'all got that wrong, too.
What is it?
Whippersnapper is a can-do person.
That's what I thought.
You know, your wife comes in from work and she starts cooking. She tells you to get off the couch and set the table. Whippersnapper. Whip, whip, whip. Snap, snap, snap. Chop, chop, chop. We got shit to do.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I like a whippersnapper.
That's what it is.
He kind of knows everything, and then usually he's right. That's what a whippersnapper is.
And look, one more thing. You know what a whippersnapper is this granddaughter from the Ford family who's running the Lions football team right now.
She's doing a heck of a job.
She's going to be NFL Owner of the Year.
She's a whippersnapper. I like that.
She's a whippersnapper.
Yeah, whippersnappers. Chase is a whippersnapper. But Chase's Mississippi State Bulldogs are not a whippersnapper. They are bad. All right, we'll get out of here and make way for the Gary Harris Show. Gary's in ready to roll. The Blue Plate Special will be out tomorrow. He hit 2 last week, so that runs that record to 6 and 5. How's Gary been doing, Chase, on his picks? He's been bad.
Really?
Whenever he brags, bet against whatever he bets the next week. He'll be 1 and 5 this week. So I'm gonna listen to his bets and I'm gonna fade every one of them. You listen to Tide 100.9 and 1230 AM WTBC. It's the home of Alabama sports Have a great day, everybody. And let's go back to being nice to everybody. Let's whoever won, just move on. Bye.